Welcome to Saturday versus Sunday. I'm John Barbin. With me is Jeff Dover, and let's talk football.
Well, and you were excited to talk football today. We got
right.
real football coming up this week. It's our week 0 preview, and it couldn't come at a sooner time because I am tired of the NFL preseason. We did it in one of our earlier shows. I actually said the words out loud. Oh, I'm looking forward to the preseason. I'm looking to, see the draft pick and how they play and what's happening with that. And I couldn't be more wrong. The Lions-Dolphins game yesterday was unwatchable, in my opinion.
I remember. Okay, so I had that game on the second screen. I don't know what I was watching on the primary screen.
Okay.
And one thing I actually said out loud to myself, and there's like nobody in the room. I said, "How is Wilson still on an NFL roster?"
Yeah, I know.
And right after that, he either airmailed a ball into the stands or took a sack or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And then I just thought to myself, what is it about this guy that sure it can't possibly be that there's literally nobody else better than him that he's even competing for a roster spot at this point. He is so bad. I don't get it. I just don't get how. I mean, the entertainment value is not there at all. And you're not going to win games with him anyways. Put somebody else in there who just might be more fun to watch. I get really disenchanted when teams roll out a retread quarterback like Jacoby Brissett.
Oh, I know you do. Yeah.
And I know they're just backups, but my interest level drops to 0 when they're there. I'd much rather see a draft pick with some potential, even if he's just competing for the backup. Like when Max Brosmer's out there for the Vikings, I'm like, okay, let's see this guy go. And he actually played really well. Or when Kyle McCord was out there for the Eagles, I was keyed right in because he was one of our best watches in college last year. Threw for a bazillion yards at Syracuse.
Big win over Miami. Yep.
And it's just this concept of this is something to do with hope. Something to do with the future and not the same old BS that we know we're getting with these retread career backups.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. As when I watched that, I thought that Miami as a team looked pretty good, and it was literally Wilson was the problem, like of not getting stuff done. But it was such. I don't mind watching backups if they're executing well. Like it's hard to make it into the NFL. It's hard to get drafted. There's a lot of undrafted free agents, and it's hard to make the team. And I just thought that the talent level should be better and the execution should be better. And I guess they're like not showing stuff and they're doing more vanilla offense and defense thing, but it was still like, let me just go over some of these the first couple of drive summaries. Okay.
Well, we got some drive charts going here.
Yeah,
okay.
We do for the Lions Dolphins game. Okay. So we got a 1st and 10, Detroit 29, 1st and 10, Detroit 4. So there's one first down. And then we go 2nd and 2, 3rd and 1, 3rd and 10, penalty, 3rd and 15, another penalty, 4th and 21. Just going backwards,
straight backwards,
and then punt. Then we got 1st and 10 for Miami, 2nd and 7, 2nd and 12, another penalty, 3rd and 8, 4th and 8, punt. Then Detroit, 1st and 10, 1st and 20, penalty, 2nd and 20, 3rd and 18, 4th and 22, punt. Like it was ridiculous. There's just one first down.
Classic drive summary.
Yes, just going straight backwards. So it was.
So the two put together got what net negative 50 yards.
Yeah, in the first 3 drives, and then now Miami had a touchdown on the next one, but then the next Lions play 6 plays, 16 yards. Next Miami drive 3 plays, 0 yards. Like it was was So anyway, I got nothing out of that. As a football fan, it was not entertaining. To your point, like Wilson was not. I know football is a TV product, like it's an entertainment thing, and they're in it. But the coaches and the players, like they're in it. It's their livelihood. They're in it to win games and stuff. But that was not a product. And I'm so excited. I would have been anyway, but I'm really excited for college football to start real games this Saturday starting with Iowa State, Kansas State. I think that's going to be a great game.
Yeah, it couldn't come soon enough. I mean, obviously we're just starved for any football. Otherwise, you'd never go out of your way to watch preseason. Just to linger on the preseason a little bit, I thought Gabriel looked really good. And that one interception, it was, first of all, 2 of his receivers were next to each other.
Yeah, and that seemed like a miscommunication.
And his tight end was closer to the pass, and then the wide receiver was behind him. Yep. The tight end literally pulled his arms back and just like did this to let the ball go by. And then Makuba just split the both of them. And I thought, what on earth is he doing? Like, put your hands out. Try to at least attempt to catch it. And I guess he thought, oh, this isn't meant for me. It's meant for the receiver behind me. Two receivers should never be close enough that you're like, oh, it's probably not mine. It's the guy right behind me. So they screwed that whole thing up in all the way across. Gabriel should have never thrown it, given that they were both bunched up together. There was something obviously wrong with the way they ran that route. But again, it's the preseason. Somebody screwed something up. But even with that said, the tight end was all he had to do was put his hands up and he had it.
Yeah,
so I don't put that one. I put it on Gabriel for throwing it in the first place, but what a disaster of a play. He should have just never put it out there at all.
Well, that's interesting. I had a different take with it. I think that it was Gabriel was looking at the tight end, made the right read, and threw it to him.
Yeah.
And so I don't put it on Gabriel. I think that when the tight end comes to the sideline, the tight end coach or the wide receiver coach should go up to him and it's like, the ball is really important. If it's ever in your general vicinity, you take it.
Yeah.
Like whether it's meant to go to you or not, like that's your ball. And it's not. And the last thing that can happen is the other team gets your ball.
Right.
So you get it if it's in your catch. If you ever have to pull your hands back from catching it, that's a bad sign. Like that should never happen again.
That's the complete opposite instinct.
Yes.
Like
You
think
go
about
get
it.
the ball.
If it was a fumble, he'd dive on it and sacrifice his body to protect the ball. Like that's just the instinct every football player has. And yet a ball thrown right at him, he alligator arms it.
Yeah.
Like I actually want to know what the hell he was thinking. I didn't pay enough attention to know if that's just a guy trying. I'm assuming that's a guy trying to make the team, but oh boy, that's not how you make a team.
No, and it's and that's happened before. Like every now and then, there's been a quarterback who's thrown a pass, and they're like, "Oh, that was a great pass for the," and then he'd be like, "You know what? I was actually throwing to the guy behind him." Like, but the other guy like cut under it and had like it happens. Like that does happen, but
they were close enough that they could reach out and touch each other. That's a
mistake.
There's no offensive scheme where two potential receivers are within an arm's length of each other. Somebody screwed up.
Right. I think it's the wide receiver that screwed up.
Oh, you don't think he was supposed to be in the flats?
No, I think he ran. I think the tight end was the route. I think that's why Gabriel threw to him, and I think the wide receiver made the mistake and was in the same vicinity and shouldn't have been. So, and to be fair, I also think like it's easy because we don't play. We're fans. We expect a lot from our football players that we watch, but I could also see in the preseason when they call out the thing and it's XBZY27 flower,
right.
And so it's like, I thought I was the flower. No, are you not?
No, you were the bumblebee.
So, right.
What are you doing?
So that's I
mean,
see how
on that play, Gabriel did break contain and he was doing a bit of ad-libbing. So, I mean, but God, that was just pull your hands. What are you doing?
No, can't
It's the
do it.
complete opposite instinct you're supposed to have. Other than that, I thought Gabriel looked amazing.
Yeah.
He was just on point, accurate. Him and Shedeur both looked, in the time that they got to start, they both looked good. The good.
Yeah. No, and there's something to, where I want to get to the week 0 preview, but there is something to college players that have a lot of experience, that played 4 years, some 5 years, and maybe with more than one team, because that's forced you to learn another system with another coach or something. And so to be able to come in, this is sort of like the 3rd or 4th time they've done this, meet a new team, meet a new coach, new meeting. Like, this is how I got to prepare. Like this is what I didn't prepare enough last time starting a new team. I'm not going to let that happen again.
Right.
Like, there has to be, because Gabriel was great at UCF and then went to
Oklahoma
Oregon,
and then Oregon.
Yeah. And so that's
and Shedeur played a bunch. He started 4 years.
Yep.
They both have 50-something games under their belt.
Yeah.
And then
Shedeur had a 1 or 2 different offensive coordinators.
Different
just to Colorado
coordinators
too.
just had to learn different systems.
Yep. So
like Bo Nix is in that mold.
Yep.
Played a lot. I'm starting to think the 1 year guy like Richardson or Trey Lance is do not do that. Like this is Mitch Trubisky.
Yep.
Started 1 year. Everyone thought he looked good, and he's been a career backup and never could do it. So I'm starting to think it's more that's more rare that's actually gonna work than drafting the guy who's at least started a couple of seasons. I think Arch Manning is for sure staying for an extra year. I think he kind of understands 1 year starting is not enough.
Yeah, I think so too. And speaking of starters with multiple years experience, so we got
Rocco Beck.
And Avery Johnson.
No,
right?
1 year so far. This is now year 2.
Right,
so
but it's going to be coming into more experience.
Oh yeah. Now, both of these guys, if they are up for the draft when they do, Beck, I think it'll be this coming year, and Avery's still got another year.
I can't believe Beck's still there. I was surprised that he was coming back. Well, I mean, not surprised he's coming back, but surprised he's still eligible. But
well, in this day and age, it's getting rare to be like, oh yeah, that is the quarterback at that school. He's still there,
right?
And I'm just used to them either transferring, they're there for 1 year, and it's like, where was he before? And he sort of like Will Howard goes to Ohio State. Well, came from Kansas State, goes to Ohio State, 1 year, wins the championship. But it's becoming more rare that you can say, oh, that quarterback was a Buckeye, or that quarterback, was a Wildcat. It's like, well, for some of his career he was, but where does he, in his, he's going to go down in history as a Wildcat, a Buckeye? What is he? So.
No, you're right. You think Rocco Beck is, you only think Iowa State because that's the only thing that's So what do you think now? So how you've mentioned this before? How disappointed are you that it's in Ireland and not at Kansas State or Iowa State?
Very, very disappointed. Well, you don't get a lot of home games in college. What do you get? 6, maybe 7,
and sometimes 5. Like
sometimes 5. Yeah. And this year, neither of these teams get this as a home game. So the fans are just the chance to be there and see it live and have the on-campus atmosphere, which you cannot replace. You can't replace a college on-campus atmosphere. I mean, great for the fans in Ireland. Good for them for getting to see this. But give them the NFL. Don't do this. The NFL the NFL's trying to push it. People are so much more bonded to their college, and just that. Taking a home game from a college team. I mean, I hate it that they do it with the bowl games and the playoffs. I think it all should be on campus. Yeah. But this is just killing me.
Yeah. I would feel a little bit different if this game was in like Atlanta or something. Like I would like that, in terms of a neutral site more than there's nothing against Ireland. Shout out Davey B. Think Ireland's fantastic and all your friends there. But it does the thing that, And I don't feel as strongly about it as you do. Like I'm fine with the Europe stuff and things like that. I was fine with what was it? It was Nebraska and someone last year.
No, it was the start of the demise of Florida State.
It was Florida State and Georgia Tech. That's right.
Beat Florida State.
That's right. So Nebraska was the year before that, but it was the
Northwestern and Nebraska. It was the only game Northwestern won. All year.
It might have been.
The funny stat there is Northwestern didn't win a game in the United States that year.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah.
I have less problem with it being over in Europe than you do. But in this part that rubs me the wrong way is that these are two good teams,
Yes.
And they're going to be. It's either one of them should be in the Big 12 championship. And so to have a schedule where you're like, well, it's at Arizona State or you've got Arizona at home or, and then what about the big Kansas State or Iowa State game? And they're like, oh, that was just a neutral site this year. And for that to potentially separate who gets to represent the Big 12 in the championship game, like, cause it could, it's down. So like that part's the only part other than that, I think it's going to be a great game. I'm really excited when you've got returning. We've harped on this a lot in our State of Affairs series. If you haven't listened to those, go back and listen because we did cover Kansas and maybe not Iowa, but for sure the Kansas one. And so the returning QBs, continuity of quarterback,
and
not
head
sure,
coach.
Yeah, head coach, right? So. I think this is going to be a great game. I think that. Do you have any other thoughts specifically about the game that you're thinking about?
Well, no. The continuity at QB and head coach is a big deal because it changes so frequently that it's actually one of our major criteria we pay attention to here. I also marriages of coaches with teams. I think Kleiman is great at Kansas State, and
that's a good call.
And Campbell's awesome at Iowa State. I don't think they should ever leave. They both probably can or already have gotten offers for bigger schools, but somewhere along the line, there's just a fit that it works.
Yep.
And maybe for their career path, they're going to want to explore. But me as a fan, I want them to stay. I'm like, that
Oh,
works. Campbell
yeah,
and Iowa State, that works.
Yeah,
You know.
if you were an Iowa State fan or a Kansas State fan, like, or especially if you're an Iowa State fan and you heard Campbell is going to leave, that would be devastating.
Yeah.
Because he's been consistent and good, and you're right. It's just a great fit with that team. You know, and they had a record number of wins last year, right? It's the most they've ever had. Iowa State had 10 wins last year, so
11 and 3.
11. So you'd hate to lose that, but it's yeah. So anyway, I think this game's going to be great. I love the fact that there's a return. There's a lot of turnover on these teams, unlike offense, defensive side of the ball, like offensive line, defensive line, like all basically at every position. There's been a lot of portal people leaving, a lot of portal people coming in.
Yep.
So it's going to be a lot of uncertainty. The only thing you are certain of is 2 quality QBs.
Yep.
And normally you would get some lower scoring games, I think, in the beginning because the offense, the timing isn't quite there, and defense, you can just sort of react. But both these teams' defense wasn't very good. I think when you have to replace a lot, I don't know why they'd be that good this year. So I'm not sure who's going to win in terms of Kansas State or Iowa State, but the over-under would seem sneaky low to me. It was 49.5. So, let me put it this way. If this was a regular season Big 12 game, like in October, there's no way it's sniffing 49.5. It'd be like 55 or 57 or something like that. So I think that's low. So I would take the over in this game.
Oh, you do like the over in this game. Are you leaning towards either side, or just
Not
the
really.
over?
I mean, I think I would lean Kansas State. If I could get it at 2.5, I would probably take Kansas State as opposed to the 3. But so I'm leaning Kansas State. The pick I like the best is over 49.5.
Yeah.
At time of recording.
The big question is can Iowa State restock the shelves after losing 2 star receivers?
So much. Yeah.
2,000-yard receivers to the NFL, which is kind of a big deal, and their best cornerback. So both of these teams, though, are more what you would think of as a development program. Like, they don't just stack the roster with 4- and 5-star recruits.
No.
With that said, Kansas State got their first ever 5-star recruit, the tight end. So who knows? Maybe he'll totally pop right away. But you got to imagine they're keeping guys in the program that they can develop. So, I mean, because Higgins and Noel were not highly recruited high school players. I think one of them was a 0-star, but they both ended up in the NFL. So they can develop talent on both of these teams. Kansas State typically recruits a little bit higher, but lately Iowa State's been right there with them. So, and like you said at the beginning, I'd say both of them expectations should be a run at the Big 12 championship. I mean, Kansas State, absolutely, for sure. And Iowa State, if they can reload some of the positions they missed, them too. So as far as I think 3 points is about right. Just for no other reason than there's a bit more on paper, you could say, talent that you can point at on Kansas State versus what Iowa State lost. But that's more of just, it's an unknown. We don't know if the people replacing the guys they lost are. I think the odds makers just assuming, how could you possibly replace 2 NFL caliber receivers? Like, there's got to be some drop off there.
Right. No, and I agree. I agree with what you're saying. Like, they're known as the development. Like, there's someone comes out of nowhere who's like a redshirt junior or something, and you're like, where was this guy? And he's like, oh, he was a 0-star recruit 3 years ago, and you know. But that was the part that had me nervous, because I think specifically for Iowa State, for the wide receiver, they're like, oh, they lost their 2 best receivers, as everyone knows, that went to the NFL. So like, they brought in a transfer from like Troy or something, and I'm like, oh, that's not the same as developing someone, right? So yeah, I'm a little worried about that. But again, while they've got all those changes in offense, they're doing that on defense too. So and both defenses weren't great last year. So that's why I feel good about the over.
So when these teams played in the regular season last year, Iowa State won that game 29-21, and they had the time of possession advantage by 10 minutes. Do you remember this game? They did not turn the ball over. Kansas State had 2 terrible turnovers, and I think those turnovers were mostly the difference in the game. Avery Johnson was just, I think he turned it over on the very first offensive play on a pitch, just a pitch to the running back that didn't work. And it was more like Kansas State really shot themselves in the foot throughout this game. Even then, it was still just a 1-score game, but you just can't make those sort of mistakes. My guess is you just can't bank on Kansas Kansas State making those type of mistakes again, and Iowa State not making any mistake again.
Yeah, no, I mean, and it's the first game of the season, so there's gonna be mistakes, right? So so that's for sure gonna happen, and but that's what, again, I'm banking on the returning QB and the continuity at head coach to like smooth over some of that stuff. There's gonna be like a crazy turnover or a field position flip or something like that, and then I'm hoping that those QBs. Especially Avery Johnson, who can run too. Like if some of the play gets blown up, he can make something happen with his legs. So I think that's going to lead to some points there too.
So you're taking the over.
Yep.
But you're not confident on who's winning this game. Man.
No.
Yeah, I think it'll be a one-score game as well.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when you've got two QBs who kind of know how to, especially Rocco Becht. The games don't typically get away from him, or he finds a way to reel it in at the end. Actually, there was a couple of games last year. They were winning in the last drive of the game so often when they actually dropped that game at the end of Texas Tech. I thought, oh, that doesn't happen. Iowa State always wins these. Like you got used to them having the winning drive at the end, not having the winning drive happen to them at the end. So maybe they were just the cardiac kids all year and they'll regress to the mean this year. I don't know. Either way, like you said, I cannot wait for this game versus the garbage that the NFL puts out in preseason. Yeah. Maybe it's not fair to compare preseason to real games here.
Well, I thought we made, listen to me. I thought we made excellent points, talking about that before because it's hard to make the NFL, and they're good players. Like, I just thought that the execution was just so bad, and I get that they're backups, and I get that they're not first string people, and they're fighting for jobs and things like that. But it was such a bad football game, So, and again, so we talked about Iowa State, Kansas State. I'm looking forward to Fresno State, Kansas. I think that's gonna be a good game. Mm-hmm. Kansas renovated their stadium, so it's the reopening of the booth there in Kansas, which is going to be awesome. We were close to going to that game, and Daniels, right, is still there also.
Jalen Daniels,
So another continuity there for coach and quarterback. So I'm looking forward to that. And there's somewhat an interesting story too on the other side for quarterback is EJ Warner, right? So it's Kurt Warner's son will be starting for Fresno State. So that's not a bad matchup.
Pretty good storyline there. Obviously, Kansas is heavily favored there. They should win this game. But man, Kansas was, with the amount of talent on that team and how many of the Jayhawks that are actually in the NFL right now, between draft picks and undrafted free agents. Skinner, one of the receivers, is making plays all over the place yesterday. So it's just both their cornerbacks. So that team, and they oddly put like a significant amount of linemen lately into the NFL. And just recently a donor dumped $300 million on them.
That was crazy.
So I think, or maybe that is Booth that did that. But either way, this program's is really taking football seriously. Speaking about Kansas, so and Jalen Daniels, we talked about this, is a Heisman caliber type. He's got the arm, he's got the movement. If he puts it all together, that's the level of tools he has. Now they lost a stud running back, but we'll see. They still should be favored. I don't know if they're going to cover the number. I would expect there to be so much hype, so much anticipation, like reopening the stadium. They must be so sick of last year, like playing at Arrowhead or wherever. So they're going to be so happy to be back in their newly renovated stadium. My guess is they'll ride that momentum and should put a beat down on Fresno. But maybe Warner's kid's really special.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not so worried about Fresno State. I'm just more worried about Kansas. Like there's a lot of turnover. These are some of the schools that the portal just kills them, because someone would go from Kansas to, LSU or Texas or something like that. Do you know what I mean? So it's just really hard to retain talent.
Well, so maybe that huge infusion of money will start keeping some players there.
Yeah, I'm hoping. That's exactly what I'm hoping for. But there's just been so much turnover, and the defense for Kansas specifically is a total rebuild, all new, total rebuild. So it's this is one of those things too where we talked about this on a previous show about Clemson or South Carolina, but it's like I would have liked this year's Daniels on last year's Kansas team. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
because he was injured and it was inconsistent, and I think he'll be better this year and hopefully healthier. But he's not the same team around him as he did last year.
Last year might have been the most talented Kansas team in Daniels' tenure.
Yes.
But Daniels was not the best Daniels. The 2022 Daniels is the one you wanted. Not,
Or 2025. I would have taken, like, if I think he's going to be good.
But we're assuming he's going to get his act together this year.
Yeah, so. But I mean, he does, but it's not, the team isn't the same around him. So so because of the complete overall, especially on defense, I have trouble taking Kansas with the covering that number, because I've got it at a -12, which is a weird number.
Yeah, 12. Why would you park it on 12?
No, it's a weird.
Hang on. So you taking Fresno to cover?
No, but I don't. I just don't. I'm staying away from it.
Yeah,
because I just don't know what to expect from. It's just. I agree with you. I think Kansas is going to come out fired up at the new booth, but there's just so much turn. It's going to be a sloppy game, I think, and it'd be hard, I think, for Fresno State's not going to be good, but it's I just, because of so much turnover and stuff, I don't know. I have a hard time thinking them to cover that. I was leaning more toward I think it's going to be sloppy. I don't think either team's going to execute super well. So I was leaning more toward the under, but the idea of taking an under with Kansas or Fresno State scares the hell out of me.
No, just it'd be fun to watch. Hopefully learn a lot about both teams, but nothing we're confident betting on. And it's the only other game. There's only one more game this weekend I'm interested in, mostly just because of one team, is UNLV.
Yes.
This starts the Dan Mullen era. Yep. They won 11 games last year. I had to check that out. Like, oh yeah, they were really good. They just couldn't beat Boise. They lost to Boise twice. Yeah. But this is the Dan Mullen era, so we'll see. He's got. I mean, if you're into college football at all, how can you not be into seeing Dan Mullen return and see what he can do there? Because everywhere he goes, it worked pretty good. I mean, Dakota Prescott is in the NFL because of Dan Mullen.
Yeah, and do they have a returning QB too? Is it the new? I feel like that guy was.
Is he still back there? I don't know. This is terrible. I should have done our research on that one.
But it's I think he's coming back, and even though it's not continuity head coach, Mullen historically is pretty good with wide receivers, with just only a couple of exceptions. So it's even though it's not continuity there, I'm excited to see Mullen with that team back in coaching.
Do you mean to say wide receiver or QB?
QB.
Yeah, QB. You said wide receiver. And the thing is, if you paid attention to Dan Mullen, he can work with whatever QB you give him.
Yeah.
So he orchestrated he was the offensive coordinator on the Gators' last two national championship teams with Chris Leak and Tim Tebow, which you couldn't get any more different players. And
Dak Prescott, Mississippi State.
Yeah, he knew how to work with whatever Prescott was at Mississippi State. He had them ranked in the top 10 in the country. Like
really
they were
for them,
which is not common at Mississippi State. Really hard to get them that high, and he had them flying. Then when he got the head coaching job back at Florida, working with people like Kyle Trask, completely different player than Prescott, completely different player than Tebow, and Trask was just marching up and down the field. So Mullen is one of these few coordinators who can, whatever you give him, he can turn it into gold as far as like offensive scheme. So he's one of the brilliant offensive minds. So hopefully he can make UNLV into a must-watch TV. Like, I'm going to be watching. But if you haven't been thinking about watching UNLV, I think this is your to start watching them.
Yeah, no, for sure. And yeah, anyway, no, I was trying to figure out if UNLV had a purpose, I can't find it immediately. So, but no, I think that game's going to be good too. So then there's no line on it because they're playing Idaho State. So UNLV is going to win comfortably. But it'd be good to see them out there again.
Yep. You got anything else?
No, that's it. Looking for week 0 is so in terms of Saturday versus Sunday, I'm calling it now. The week 0, the college is going to win the weekend upcoming, and I can't wait for it to start. It's finally here.
There's nothing that can happen in the NFL that'll be better than an actual, real, in-season college football game, and specifically 2 ranked teams that are going to be vying for the Big 12 title. At least at the end of the day, they better be there. And I mean,
no, both of them. It's the Big 12, man. They're going to be all over the place.
Everyone will be in contention. All right, good place to leave it for now.
Yep.
All right, so for Jeff Dover, I'm John Barban, and that's your Saturday versus Sunday podcast.